Well, my name is Rhonda Cornwell. I'm from the outside of Charlotte in a rural area called Shelby, North Carolina. And I'm actually a physical therapist. I work part-time, but I also homeschool my daughter.
My name is Bria Cornwell, and I am a senior, so I'm currently living with my mother. And my desire is to be a creation scientist, which is one who communicates the abundance of evidence that the God of the Bible created the universe, and it was not the Big Bang Theory and macroevolution that is the origin of humanity. And I'm extremely passionate about this because of the teaching that my mother has given me. And this teaching has come so much from the homeschool conference because she was first exposed to worldviews, the importance of how you think affects what you do and your place in the world in comparison to other people.
The homeschool conference impacted me personally because it educated me on, not just on how to homeschool math and finding curriculums in English and maybe exploring some colleges. I think the most important thing that the homeschool conference taught me was all about today's culture, where the culture is headed, apologetics, creation science, worldviews. It didn't only teach me, but it taught her, because my husband and her would go to some of these breakout sessions or some of these teachings while I was doing something else. And not only that, I would purchase some of the materials, the books, the CDs of the lecture, and then I would listen to them in my car to learn about, for example, transcendentalism, postmodernism, ideas that are taking place, that are being pushed upon our young people in our culture today, so that we see things through a biblical worldview, and we can behave with truth and respond accordingly, according to the way that God would want us to. There are a variety of activities that take place at the conference that are just so wonderful. I mean, they have a large dance in the evenings and then a game night in the evenings. And something else that was very wonderful was that they had provided kind of breakout sessions for local areas. For example, the Charlotte area in North Carolina. Well, we went into this room and there were only maybe 6 people there. And we met one of my daughter's best friends who, in 8th grade, we have stayed in contact with them ever since 8th grade, and her mom and I are good friends, and so we would have never met them had it not been for the NCHE homeschool conference, and then the effort that they take to provide opportunities for meeting other people and for just kids having fun in a large group setting with each other.
And it has been extremely encouraging and refreshing for me to be a part of that community because with that homeschool conference, because I'm so used to being around phone-addicted kids who don't care about communicating, who don't care about God, who don't have that same passion that I do. And so it's just been a wonderful, very refreshing experience.
It is refreshing. Every time that I went to that homeschool conference, I came back all pumped up and ready to go. And not only, when I say ready to go, it wasn't just in my mind with what to do, like thematically or conceptually. It was also the vendors that they have, with hundreds of vendors there. I would go there and actually pray. Remember the time I prayed? I was concerned one year about what I was going to do with science for her, and I was praying that God would show me which curriculum to use for science. And I was walking down the vendor hall, and I saw this picture of this big moth on this one lady's booth, and then she had told me that
I had seen a live moth with my dad and communicated that to her, and it looked about identical from what I remember to that big picture of that moth on that booth.
Well, I know, I just got excited when I saw the picture of that moth because I had been praying and there was some connection with a moth, and I went in there and the curriculum was Nancy Larson Science, and it was perfect for her. But the point is, I never would have known about it if I hadn't gone to NCHE. I wouldn't have known. I mean, I learned so much, not just about worldviews, culture, apologetics, creation science that I passed on to her. It was, what am I going to do? What kind of curriculums am I going to use? What am I going to actually do?
And so then the experience that I got from that curriculum that was perfect for me, that she found through God in that vendor
Yeah.
hall, now I desire to be a creation scientist and properly communicate that information that I learned from that science curriculum.
Also, at this conference, they have breakout sessions where you'll have leaders that have already been through homeschooling, and they will talk about the how-tos, like how do you get started homeschooling? How do you homeschool the younger little kids, and how do you work through the logistics of high school? And which we haven't experienced this, but they also have a graduation ceremony, and they also have a talent show. So what I started alluding to before was that I would come back from these conferences and just be pumped.
Yeah.
I'd have everything I needed to know, or I felt like I did, and I did, because now I'm looking at it in hindsight. I can't imagine homeschooling without going there. I can't imagine it. It was so helpful. So it's a big weekend. It starts in the morning and it ends late at night, and it's just so much fun and so informative, and it's really changed our lives. I mean, it really has. And it's definitely changed the trajectory of her life, given that she wants to be a creation scientist, because there were so much apologetics that we learned there from all those, I don't know if it's just nation known or world renowned speakers that they have there every single year.